is called Girl Bosses Need to Die by a Pick-Me.
Girl bosses have taken over Hollywood and mainstream media in the last few years. Strong female characters have always been around, but the last decade has shown us women that are better, women that are insufferable, women that are arrogant, all wrapped up in a messy package of inclusion and diversity that fails to tell a good story and, in fact, turns audiences away.
Why are you pretending that any of these were straying from character? All of these were written, none of these were woke character inclusion things. They were already, She-Hulk's always been a lawyer, you know what I mean? She-Hulk was fine, it's a Marvel thing.
And it seems as if every female character in the last 10 years has followed the same narrative.
Anyway, so she's very flawed throughout this entire series. You showed the Thor one earlier, flawed? None of these people are perfect at all. The flaw of the Queen or Galadriel, the first and second seasons, mostly the first though, the first season of Rings of Power is about how Galadriel has flaws. Here's the story of her biggest flaw.
It certainly doesn't help that the actresses playing them feed into this narrative and berate fans who question and criticize, suggesting...
berate fan? Are we going to see Brie Larson?
That they simply aren't progressive enough, or that the film wasn't made for them, and then act surprised when the ratings are so terrible. But because
the ratings are terrible? On what? Rings of Power has awesome ratings. They're doing all 5 seasons. It's going to be awesome. It's great.
Studios are so far removed from the opinions of fans, these movies and television shows continue to get made.
Also, the Acolyte was better than She-Hulk. I liked Acolyte. This got canned because of the anti-woke mob. I actually thought this was a good story. I was surprised.
All at the cost of the goodwill of the fans and the tarnishing of iconic IPs.
Iconic IPs with Gal Gadot.
This is a major reason that fans are turning away from Hollywood to projects that are made by overseas studios and foreign directors.
Yeah.
It's why foreign films are doing so well at the box office, and small indie studios are beginning to make waves. We have seen this song and dance before.
Small indie studios are making waves. All of those are woke, by the way. All of those indie studios have woke movies.
And they have nothing further
They're
to
all
tell
very
us
gay.
with this tired...
You like She-Hulk more than you liked Acolyte? Yeah, I didn't.
...tribe. I have seen enough girl boss characters to the point that every time I see my own gender on screen, I am usually able to tell what sort of female character we're going to get, and it's exhausting.
It must be exhausting to be constantly trying to be offended. That does sound exhausting. Every time I watch a thing, I have to look at the female characters and look for flaws in them. Disa was awesome, yeah.
Case in point, I recently saw War of the Rohirrim, which I was initially interested to see when I first heard about it, but was very disappointed to learn that instead of the story being about the historic figure of Helm Hammerhand, it's instead about his daughter Hara, who is nothing more than a footnote in the notes of Tolkien's lore. And an entire character was created based on the mention of her existence. The writer...
Oh, damn. They adapted notes? I don't know, man.
Chose to regard this as utilizing a character that Tolkien ignored, even though she didn't matter at all to the greater world of Middle-earth.
I don't care about Helm Hammerhand at all. Should I? Why?
I have been bored and bewildered by films I've seen this year, but this is the first time in 2024 that a movie has enraged me. Not because Hera...
Enraged you? Listen to yourself. You're so stressed out. I can't imagine being like this. Oh, no.
Screw it. I don't want to play anymore.
Don't expand the fantasy world. I know, right? I haven't seen the movie. I don't care. I love The Lord of the Rings. I don't care about this movie at all. I'll watch it when it's free to do so, I guess.
Is a quintessential girl boss. Not because she is better than every other male character around her. Not because she is better in combat and a better strategist than her peers. And is
I was hoping for more lawyer scenes as well in She-Hulk.
Ignored until it's too late in the film. No, I was livid because this was a story that was utterly meaningless. They managed to take the legend of Helm Hammerhand.
Is this what this is about? Are you... Okay, maybe not. Okay. It's a section of the video, probably.
A very
Men get to have flaws, be arrogant, be bosses, be bad guys, make mistakes, but women are not allowed. You have to be maidens.
very interesting tale in its own right and make it into a feminist manifesto about a woman who had no contribution to the history of Middle-earth. The deaths of her family were simply used as a footnote in her story, a way to apologize to her, as she was the only one in the end who could save Rohan from their enemies. Hara, who didn't even have a name until the creators of this movie gave her one, combines the characters of both Theoden and Gandalf in this movie, calling on the Great Eagles to aid her, dueling Wolf in single combat, and defeating him because the laws of biology don't apply here anymore.
The laws of biology? You don't think women can kill men? It's definitely happened. Like, what? In Middle-earth? I think in real life, women could kill men in sword fights. I also think in Rohan, women can kill men with swords in sword fights. What is this biological essentialism shit? I can't imagine being a woman and feeling so cucked that you're like, yeah, I couldn't ever face any man in anything. I'm worse than every man. It's like, what, dude? Have some confidence in yourself.
More. She is both savior of Rohan and somehow forgotten about. The movie explicitly states more than once that history does not remember her, but gives no reason why. There's also a great deal of emphasis placed on Hera's desire.
I bet if I watch this, it will give an explicit reason why. I bet it'll be like, and then there was no people to tell the tale.
Not to marry and remain free, even though
we were just talking about
It's close.
Jeanne d'Arc earlier. Yeah, we were. You guys listen to Arcade Fire? Stardust Sloth. Thanks for following.
never really stated why marriage is such an unappealing idea to her. And in their desire to quickly put out a project so they can retain the rights to
I can't imagine being so misogynist
Yes, queen.
that you can't, like, root for the female protag. Every female protag is bad now. Media literacy not found.
Lord of the Rings, Warner Brothers has produced the most meaningless project of 2024. In the original trilogy, there was great emphasis placed on the deaths of the characters. People like Gandalf, Boromir, and Theoden, and even Denethor had deaths that were notable and worthy of mention.
You can't... I'm sure she fucking loves Eowyn, by the way.
The death
Does not care if Peter Jackson is responsible for some of the ways that goes down.
of Helm Hammerhand was utterly meaningless in this story, and only happened so that Hera could be the last woman standing to lead Rohan to victory. There was no reason for him to have not gone through the gate with her, so that he could command the armies,
I don't know who Helm Hammerhand is.
call for reinforcements, and the War of the Rohirrim.
Never heard of him.
Instead of being about a man for whom the fortress and horn was named after, because of his breaking of the Dunlending ranks, stalking men like a snow troll and slaying them with his bare hands, became about a woman who fought in a wedding dress against a jilted prince.
I assume he builds Helm's Deep? Maybe? Helm's Deep.
Therefore cementing the feminism and patriarchy destruction that this movie and so many
Gimli blew his horn in 2 towers?
others are all about. There have been a few exceptions in 2024, particularly with regards to Dune Part 2.
Oh, you liked Dune Part 2? That's so fascinating. Do you care that Denis changed the character of Chani from Frank Herbert's interpretation at all? No?
Lady Jessica and Princess Irulan were quite interesting to me. Both were incredibly strong women, but the farthest definition from a girl boss that you can be. Whether or not they are good and
You don't think Lady Jessica or Princess Aurelian are girl bosses? That's fascinating. I guess girl boss to her is a pejorative that means a woman that's trying to be in charge and isn't?
moral people
Literally in charge. Yeah, I know.
remains to be seen, because Lady Jessica did a good job keeping her cards close to her chest, while also playing the role of Bene Gesserit leader and cultist, spreading the word of the coming Messiah to the Fremen. Princess Irulan, though her role was small, was so different from other female characters that I have been force-fed that she was a breath of fresh air every time she was on screen. She
Force-fed?
is not a warrior, but a politician and a record keeper and historian. In fact, all of the Bene Gesserit I saw in this movie were very interesting. They are not overt or ham-fisted, they were subtle, but extremely powerful, working behind the scenes to bring about a prophecy that is thousands of years in the making. And
working behind the scenes. What about Chani, who was literally killing men in combat the whole time? Jessica is a warrior. She literally is, yeah.
I can't wait to see more of them in upcoming movies and shows. Another example would be the characters of Glinda and Elphaba from the recent Wicked film adaptation, which I saw not too long ago and thoroughly enjoyed. Elphaba
All right, she's media illiterate. She's illiterate.
represents a strong character who is not overstated or arrogant and still retains a sense of right and wrong. Still retains a desire for love and friendship that she manages to achieve with Glinda before the end of the movie. Likewise,
did the woke go over her head there? Oh my god. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She's gonna hate Wicked Part 2? Oh, fucking big time. I'm excited for Dune Messiah. I'm so excited about Dune Messiah because it's going to break right-wing brains.
Glinda represents a character that is as far from your average girl boss as she could possibly be. She's feminine and a little ditzy, but also the sort of character that wants to find love just as much as her friend does. And when she and Elphaba
So when women are defined by wanting to find love, that's when it's allowed. This is just Little Women. She should watch Little Women. That was a good movie. The Chalamet Saoirse Ronan one. That one was good.
do decide to strike up a friendship, she's also incredibly loyal. It's a direct contrast to the in-your-face, emotionless, soulless characters that have been shoved in our faces for far too long. And it's because there are good actresses playing these women, but also
I don't understand why we showed whatever that movie was.
The writing that's clearly coming from a professional that creates them. This writing isn't coming from an activist or a corporate-approved stooge who takes...
I fucking disagree that Denis has no activist fucking mindset in this. The movie is about religion is bad and following men who are at the tops of religions are bad and following power structures are bad. And you know what? But also, love throws a wrench in even the grandest of plans. Oh my god.
Takes orders and collects a paycheck, but someone who has a genuine love for the source material and a desire to create a good film before any rules of representation. Can we get more of that, please?
Rules of representation. They change Elphaba to a black woman to more drive home the point. And which is a very good idea. And I'm surprised she doesn't see any woke motivations in that whatsoever. Crazy.
Can we get more women who are thoughtful, considerate, nuanced, and maybe even kind?
Maybe even kind. So Galadriel is all of these things. So is I can't remember her name. Well, definitely the queen of Numenor that she showed earlier. Or is it some sort of like woke icon or some shit?
Can we get more women whose goals are not to just stick it to the man or rule a kingdom or destroy the patriarchy?
Rule the kingdom? Why do you like Jessica? Why do you like Princess Aurelian? What? What movie is about destroy the patriarchy? Also, I don't think the Bene Gesserit respect the patriarchy. They control the patriarchy. Like, every character in Dune is literally looking for control of the throne and the spice.
Call me crazy, but I'd kind of like to see love stories again. Stories where women have a cause that goes beyond breaking records or...
Yeah, just love stories. Listen to you. Women can't ever do anything but fall in love with men. There are lots of romance movies out right now. What do you mean? Go watch, like, romance movies. There you go. Boom. Heterosexual, 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 hetero. Polyamorous heterosexual? Possible bisexuality. Hetero. Fall Guy was fun. Hetero. What else we got? Hetero. Crow. Fucking retelling. Hetero. Killers of the Flower Moon. Het. Theory of Everything. Het. Her. Het. Call Me By Your Name. Gay. Brokeback Mountain. Gay. There you go. You have lots of options. She yearns for the trad mines. Go into a mine, please.
Barriers. Stories where love is celebrated for the wonderful thing that it is.
Love is one of the core things in, like, Rings of Power, for instance. You know what I mean? Like, Literally, like, love in friendship, love in romantic ways, love in platonic ways, love for, like, nature. It's at the core of every single piece of writing. The friendship writing in Rings of Power. I don't know what the fuck they're against.
Rather than as an old-fashioned ideal that modern people have moved beyond. It's not wrong to show a thoughtful, nuanced love story with
It's not, but it is wrong to only allow women to have love stories and nothing else? Like, what? That's super weird that women that aren't in love stories, now you need that to happen.
Well-written characters that the audience can get behind and that humanizes the couple. These days, if any type of love story is written, one part of the couple has to be either a side piece or a fawning servant whose only job is to worship the ground the girl boss walks on.
Why do you want that to be what the women do for the men?
Otherwise, it's this fanfiction version of love, where the girl who is perfection meets the bad boy and they have this weird song and dance, will they, won't they sort of relationship. The girl either wants to redeem...
That really wasn't what was happening in this Will They, Won't They? It was about the two sisters starting at opposite sides of the story and then swapping places again because they're twins. There was tension for sure at the end leading into the next season. Like, there wasn't... The reason that they're drawn together isn't because they want to fuck. The reason they're drawn together is their ideals at the end of that series. You know? Like...
her love interest or else kill her love interest. And there's this bizarre sexual tension the whole time that just throws me out of the storyline entirely.
Why? What is the bizarre tension? I don't find it bizarre at all. You're never getting season 2 of The Acolyte. They canceled it.
And creates laughable and absurd characters. I understand that there used to be a problem with female characters only ever wanting love, particularly in books, and so the pendulum has swung back. But we've gone well past center at this point to something that is almost entirely unrecognizable.
What are you talking about? Love story, love story, love story. I don't know if they're going to do a Mantis love story or not, but that'd be interesting. They kind of did some Drax stuff. Has Carol done any love story stuff?
An ideal has been created that is some weird, twisted version.
Love story. Love story. Not every woman has to have a romantic plot, man. It's crazy.
Version of a female archetype mixed with all
love
the
story.
traits that would be considered toxic in a male.
The stuff you like, the movie you liked forced a love story. Return of the Jedi is the one they fucking like.
Being loud, obnoxious, arrogant, condescending, the best at whatever they do, and so on and so on.
Fuck.
But maybe the worst part of the girl boss character is something I briefly touched on earlier, but didn't fully explain. And that is that the girl boss is impossible to form a relationship with. And I'm not just speaking about the relationship that these characters are supposed to form with the audience, but about the characters that surround the girl boss as well. It makes them distrustful and angry and spiteful to the characters around them.
We're being very vague. This is really stupid. This is really, really dumb. I can't believe you would take the time to make a video.
Alienating them from friendships, loosening their morals, and turning them into lone wolves that read to the audience as a cautionary tale. Believe it or not, people like seeing connections form between other people. It's the most natural and normal thing in the world.
So are people not drawing connections to each other? This lady is a handmaiden.
We like seeing people form friendships and fall in love and deal with the messy natures of human beings. It's the reason that...
The messy natures of human beings, unless the messy nature happens to be that the woman is, like, not just trying to have a relationship. Then that's too messy.
Movies like Terminator are so poignant, even decades later, because the savior of mankind in
Poignant, maybe?
John Connor was formed through human connection.
Is Terminator poignant? Since when?
The Terminator is actively sent to destroy the savior of mankind before he could be formed through the love of Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese.
Is that poignant? What? That's not poignance.
Same thing with The Matrix and the emphasis on reality versus the simulation. Human connection has been denied.
It was not love. No, it was trauma bonding and fucking once, by the way. Yeah. Thank you.
And instead, the fundamental aspects of being a human have been reduced to a sanitized world that is hallucinated by the humans connected to the pods. It's not until they begin to wake up and form connections with the other humans who have also realized the truth that they become dangerous and need to be stopped. But the more I think about the nature of the Hollywood girl boss, the more I realize that it hasn't just become a war of real women versus the robots and planks of wood that have been shoveled onto our plates. It's become a war against
the robots and planks of wood shoveled onto our plates. And a solid metaphor.
true human connection, both for the characters that surround the girl boss and for the audience watching the girl boss on screen. The girl boss possesses traits that actively prevent her.
This is just labeling anything that you have and your peers have identified as woke as saying, then the woman in it must be a girl boss. She's not in charge of fucking anything. Like, there isn't girl bossery happening in Acolyte. She's simply not a girl boss. She's like just looking for her sister.
From forming connections with other humans in her life, unless they are connected.
She's just capable, but not like 100% capable either. She's just a pilot. Not even a pilot, a fucking not engineer, worker. She's like a laborer.
There is always something about her character that prevents her from being a real human. Whether that's narcissism, a tragic childhood that creators use to justify every aspect of her terrible behavior, or a genius pedigree that surpasses the former hero that she's meant to take the role of. The girl boss stands alone.
The girl boss? What is this?
And this is not only a very unrealistic storyline for a lot of audiences, it's also a very depressing one too. The best stories are the ones about human connection, how love and belief in each other can drive people to do incredible things. It's not just romantic love that I'm talking about, but the love and respect that a student has for a mentor, and the hope the mentor has for the student. The love between family members and close friends that drive a narrative just as much as the plot does.
So the thing they do all the time is they go, look at the things I have nostalgia for. Weren't those good? I don't find anything woke in the story of Mulan, for instance. Cool. The story of Mulan, by the way, contradicts the laws of biology that you were appealing to for the fucking War of Rohan or whatever. Like, what about the laws of biology for Mulan, dude? It clearly shows that all she had to do was train with the boys to do the boy stuff. That was the moral of Mulan. If you let girls do stuff, they can do it. And you watch the movie. Let's get down to business. And then she does all the things the boys do and better. You're an idiot. I'm done. You're an idiot. Why can't we have fewer idiots?